I think it's time to introduce the first speaker, and I would like to begin with to introduce today's speaker, who is Mr. Petros Berhane. Petros is Chief of Party of the USAID Lowland WASH Activity in Ethiopia. He has more than 20 years of managerial work experience implementing a wide range of WASH projects in both emergency and development contexts, including solid and medical waste management, small-scale irrigation, and natural resource management projects in Ethiopia and around the world. Petros holds a degree in agricultural engineering from Alamaya University in Ethiopia. Mr. Berhane is joined on this webinar by the Deputy Chief of Party for the USAID Lowland WASH Activity, Mr. Zerahun Bekele. Today, Petros will be presenting on infrastructure standards and guidelines on the Lowland WASH Activity in Ethiopia. Petros, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Again, this is Petros from the USAID Lowland WASH Activity. Just to give you a quick overview of the USAID Lowland WASH Activity. USAID Lowland WASH Activity is a 5-year project working in the lowland areas of Ethiopia in 3 regions: Afar, Somali, and SNNPR, Southern Nations, Nationalities and Peoples region. And one of the components we are having under this project is improving access to water supply services. And today, I'm going to share with you the initiative and the learning we are having on improving the management and delivery of rural water supply service. And I will take you through, I have a couple of slides, and I'll take you through those slides. Next slide, please. So just to give you a quick background of Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a country with over 105 plus million people. Out of this, most of these people, over 85%, are living in the rural parts of the country. The average national water supply coverage stands at 68%. And by the way, Ethiopia is one of the countries that met its SDG development goal for improving access to safe water supply source to the nation, which is good. Having said that, there is a significant disparities between the coverage across the regions, and usually these coverages are much lower when it comes to the lowland areas. For example, one of the 2 regions which we are operating, Afar, coverage stands around 45%, while in the south, it's almost 51%. And Ethiopia has different initiatives, strategies, guidelines, national level program. One of the great program which is ongoing is the One WASH National Program. We are currently in the 2nd phase. And also Ethiopia has a target. We call it Growth Transformation Plan Target 2. We are in the 2nd phase. And this target plans to improve the water supply coverage for rural areas to 85% with a service level of 25 liters per capita per day within 1 kilometer radius, and also to reduce non-functionality rate of rural water supply service to 7%. There are many reports indicating the non-functionality rate of rural water supply service is really significant. It's even estimated around 25% of water supply service at a time are non-functional. So you can see there is a huge commitment to reduce this non-functionality rate to 7%. Next slide, please. So what are the challenges in sustaining operation and maintenance of rural supply service. What are the major challenges we are having here in Ethiopia? Usually, the investment is focused in building new infrastructures and less attention to the sustaining the existing ones. So that's an issue. Operation and maintenance is largely through community-based management arrangements. These are through, we call them here in Ethiopia, WASH, water sanitation and hygiene committees. These are, as you know, volunteer committees who have been elected and trained by different service providers to operate and manage their schemes. And also, there is low local government capacity to support operation and maintenance, which is another big challenge we're having. Private sector it's at the infant stage, and there is a limited capacity when it comes to operation maintenance or rural supply service. And usually the private sectors we have are mainly concentrated in the capital towns, including Addis, and those are mainly the service they are providing are with supply of equipments like generator pumps, pipes, and other fittings, and also other consultants and contractors with construction related services. Also, it's unfortunate we don't have a standard for study and design for rural water supply services, unlike the existing standard for urban rural water supply system. We don't have a standard for study and design for rural water supply systems, which is also a big issue. And there are different reasons for this, but it's unfortunate also we have significant issue when it comes to construction quality. And all this, as you can see, are contributing factors for high non-functionality rate we are experiencing here at the national level. And when it comes to the lowland areas, this non-functionality rate also increases due to different factors. Next slide, please. So what are the initiatives we are taking under the USAID Lowland WASH Activity to improve this? One of the initiatives we took at the initial stage, and we have been making the necessary adjustments, and we have been incorporating our learning, is the use of the development and the use of the engineering design guideline to support our assessment, our design of rural water supply services. As I indicated at the initial stage, the improving access to rural water supply service through the construction of new infrastructure plus rehabilitation of existing ones is a significant component of the project I'm working with. So at the initial stage, we supported the development and the use of engineering design guidelines. This engineering design guideline was developed taking into account the design criteria, that's the service level in line with the growth and transformation plan, which is the current government-led plan we are having. This plan is targeting to increase the service level to 25 liters per capita per day, and also, as I indicated before, within 1 kilometer radius. So that's already factored in. We also support again to facilitate the assessment and the design. We compiled and we developed typical drawings, engineering drawings for the structure we're building or rehabilitating. We also developed respective bill of quantities for those drawings, and we compiled, adapted specifications, and And also we developed a simple locally tailored reporting template, which makes it really easy for like the whole process, starting from the initiation up to the final approval stage. And one of the design templates we developed is also a spreadsheet to support the like any structures or designs we're having between the borehole up to the reservoir. And also we used the EPNet to actually, as you know, this is an open source for the distribution system analysis. That EPNet together with the spreadsheet makes it like a full design tool to initiate, to assess, and to design one motorized water supply systems. On-spot distributions are usually very easy and straightforward. And based on the learning we had in the past, the motorized issue was the challenge. That's why we came to this point. And the spreadsheet we developed has the capability to analyze, design the demand versus supply analysis, the pressure main sizing, the reservoir sizing, taking into account the demand pattern we have in the local context, and also it has the capability to size the pumps and the gensets or the power source we are using. The power source might be diesel driven or sometimes might be solar. And we used this tool. Based on this tool, we trained our the national and regional government level partners, and also our subcontractors, our partners, and even our staff. Next slide, please. So in addition to this guideline, at the initial stage, based on the assessment, we did the practice and the experience we are having here in Ethiopia at the national level on use of solar water pumping. We learned the experience and the technical capacity varies significantly, and there is significant lack of like using a standardized approach when it comes to specifying solar water pumping systems. And also based on the strategies the government is taking, the government has huge plan to replace most of the diesel-driven rural water supply service to motorized to solar pumping systems. So based on that, we took the initiative to collaborate and work with the Ministry of Water at the national level to upgrade and to refine the solar design and implementation manual that was developed by the ministry in 2013. So we significantly enriched that. And also we supported the development of operation maintenance and troubleshooting guideline for the solar water pumping system. And using these two guidelines / manual, we provided training at the national level and at the regional level partners. The national level trainings we conducted include the private sector service providers, mainly like consultants who are working in the design of solar water pumping systems, and also key staffs from relevant government partners, NGOs, and others. And this training was delivered in collaboration with private sectors like the well-known solar pumping system companies like Lorenz, Grundfos, and also at the local level, even we used devs and short lifts for mainly the operation maintenance troubleshooting training. And this training, as I indicated, were conducted at the national and also at the regional level. Next slide, please. And also, as part of our long-term strategy, we worked with the Ethiopian Water Technology Institute in delivering hands-on training, both theoretical classroom training and also practical training in the field on both the design, study and the design of solar water pumping systems and operation and maintenance systems. And also, we supported the Ethiopian Water Technology in establishing a training curriculum for technicians who are coming from regional or local level government partners, mainly around operation, maintenance, and troubleshooting of solar water pumpings. And the Ethiopian Water Technology Institute took this initiative and worked with other partners to enrich the curriculum and also to start this training event. And just for information, Ethiopian Water Technology, for those of you who doesn't know, Ethiopian Water Technology Institute it's an institute at a national level who is mandated to do a technology transfer, including these types of trainings, skill level trainings at the national level. Next slide, please. And also, in addition to this, like the design guideline, our initiative around design guidelines, including solar, we also worked at local level in professionalisation of water sanitation and hygiene committees. How we did that is this is a government approach. It is members are elected by the community. We promoted and we ensured at least 40% of the committees are women, and we also did a training on clear roles and responsibilities with the WASHCO and also with the local government partners level, supported and facilitated a clearly defined tariff, and also that tariff is supported with a proper financial management system, including opening a bank account and saving, like keeping savings into their respective bank account, and linked those WASHCOs with the local level government partner, which is Warada Water Office. Warada is for us in Ethiopia, it's similar to county for those of you who doesn't know. And we set up an arrangement where WASHCOs, in a location where private sector is non-existent, WASHCOs pay Warada Water Office technicians for a maintenance support needs beyond their capacity. So by doing this, we established a foundation for the private sector engagement for maintenance of rural water supply service. Next slide, please. And the picture you see is one of the WASHCO member at one of the solar water supply systems in Afar. Next slide. And also, as part of our wider initiative to improve operation and maintenance, we have an asset management system initiative across the 3 regions. We work with this initiative with our other collaborative partners, the USAID funded Sustainable Wash System that's managed under the IRC WASH, and also other companies like SweetSense for supply and installation of remote sense, and we used M-Water, collaborated with M-Water in customizing the AMS to the local context and worked with M Water for that. So how it works is the AMS, it stores asset inventory of rural water supply systems. And it also in Afar and the AMS we established in Afar and Somali, it has the capability to update information through mobile applications. And also, as I indicated before, we installed over 250, more than 250 real-time monitoring sensors in strategic boreholes in Afar and Somali in collaboration with, again, with our partners. And also this AMS provides a comprehensive maintenance tracing system to the local government level, and it has a capability to generate reports. And the visualization you see here, it shows how the whole AMS system works. Take into account the example of the Afar AMS we supported. Next slide, please. So what are our achievements and lessons learned? Very quickly, I will take you through the next 3 or 4 slides, and I'll share with you like our achievements. So using the standard design guidelines we supported, we developed, we designed and constructed around 130 rural water supply facilities benefiting over 250 individuals. This includes both new construction and rehabilitation. Out of this system, around 12 are solar powered. So in addition to the capacity building we did around solar, we also took the initiative to test and also to show the use of solar pumping at the local level. And based on the construction quality control plan we established at the initial stage, complemented with the design guidelines we developed, we updated, we really managed to achieve a good quality service on the ground level. And as you can see, we say we managed to meet like the around 95% of the construction quality control requirements we set at the initial stage. And as I indicated before, we also facilitated the establishment and training of respective WASH courses at this water supply service. So we supported the operationalization and the use of asset management system in 3 lowland regions, and also supported Ministry of Water, Irrigation and Energy in the development of the national study and design guideline for rural water supply service. This is based on the learning we have from the design guideline we developed and we used, and also based on the advocacy we had with the ministry. And this design guideline is currently at the draft stage, and it got delayed due to the review, and the approval has got delayed due to the current COVID context, and we expect this will be finalized in the coming few months. Next slide, please. What are the lessons we learned? So the study and design guideline, it's obvious that helped us a lot. It facilitated faster and smoother assessments. Study and the design reviews were very smooth and easier, and even approvals were very, very easy and smoother. And just to be clear, approvals are happening, has been happening by the donor, and designs, assessment study designs are initiated by our local field team. Review is happening between us and also USAID construction quality oversight partner. We call it ISCO. And as a result, we did manage to save time and also cost. And also the study and design guideline, of course, complemented by the construction quality control / assurance arrangements, we have contributed significantly to the improved construction quality. And also, since the guidelines, including the tool we developed and we adapted, are very simple and easy to use, there was high uptake and interest from the local government staff, especially those who doesn't have like the access to the technology at Warada level, at zone level, and at regional level. There was a huge interest to use these tools we developed. And based on the rapid assessment we had recently, after 2 years on average, we found around 95% of the community-based management arrangements we supported still had tariff. And from those also, more than 90% has a positive bank account. That positive bank account can be used to engage private sector service provider or the water office technicians whenever there is high level support needed, which is an encouraging and motivating result for us. Next slide, please. Thank you very much. That's all from my side. So I will hand over back to Nicole. Yes.
Great. Thank you so much, Petros, for the presentation. It was really interesting. And I've seen a number of questions come in. We have about 20 minutes set aside now for question and answers. So please go ahead. If you have additional questions, you can drop them in the Q&A box, and we'll move along and hear from Petros different answers. So the first question is, did the design guide or criteria for decisions on service level include consultation with users and customers about costs, therefore reflecting willingness and ability to pay? If so, what did you learn from this part of the design?
Thank you. That's a great question. So yes, as perfectly outlined by the person who asked this question, the way we approached our design is we start the initial assessment and the consultation at the community level, and actually we do those consultations like segregated due to the local context, so that we get and factor in women's participation in the process. And generally in Ethiopia, especially in the areas where we are working, access to improved water is critical, and I would say communities are willing to pay, and also they know the benefit of water. They don't hesitate paying for those, especially in the lowland areas. And most of the areas we working, lowlands, similar to other parts of Ethiopia, their main livelihood are livestock, and we also factor in and provide access to water to livestock. And the communities, they do pay. So yes, willingness. Okay, first tariff is like decided based on a full participation, taking into account the different costs associated around operation and maintenance. It does one thing which is clear: the maintenance piece doesn't include the full replacement cost necessarily per se, but yes, operation and maintenance, it takes into account the willingness to pay and the ability to pay, and also the technology factor. Thank you. And yeah.
Good, thank you, Petros. And a number of other questions came in around the tariffs. So Can you explain a little bit more on the community compliance to pay the tariff, as well as the role in the local bank in collecting and managing these funds? And who actually collects the money? Is it the committee or a paid volunteer?
So the water scheme, the WASH costs are delegated by the community to fully manage and operate the scheme. So the tariff collection, the management, the financial management part, fully lies with the WASH cost. And the banks are actually doing like we use them like to safely keep the extra money the WASH costs are collecting. So the WASH costs we supported, we established, even though not like always happens, they do make like a gathering, and also they do report back on the status of like the money, the tariffs they have been collecting, and the spendings they are having, and also the savings they have. So it is a WASHCO that does the tariff collection based on the decision that the community is taking, that factors in the vulnerable group also. So it's a community decision.
Good. Thank you, Petros. And we have some feedback that the results of payment to water committees after 2 years are very positive. Can you provide more details on how the project worked with communities to motivate them to pay water tariffs? I know you've mentioned some of the aspects that they took into account, but maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on that community engagement piece, which really encouraged communities to motivate them to pay those tariffs.
So it's all lies, as I indicated, in the lowland areas. Access to improved water is super critical. If you ask a Somali like elder or an elder from Afar, if you ask him or her, what are your top 3 priorities for intervention? I'm 100% confident that you will get the answer. Priority 1 is water, priority 2 is water, priority 3 is water. So there might be issues in proper management of the scheme because this is community arrangement, but the communities, they do pay from the experience we are having. One of the biggest challenge we are experiencing across like other parts of the nation is what happens if there is a maintenance support needs, which is beyond the WASHCO. Who is going to come in and fill in that part? That's why we said the private sector needs to like come in, and we need to still continue paving the ground and facilitating like the engagement of the private sector, both from the policy, from the regulations, even from like how attractive is this business to the private sector. And also the local Warada government partners are supposed to provide and support these WASHCOs in sustaining their system. Some of the WASHCO members might drop in between, and that needs to be replaced. The new like members joining the WASHCO needs to get like receive proper training. The Warada government partners are supposed to provide the monitoring, ongoing capacity building supports, and also whenever there is a need, maintenance needs request coming, they have to respond. But as we indicated, the capacity of our local government partners is really limited. Both like, not both like, including the budget allocation, the staffing, the equipment needed, the logistics for travels. We have different many contributing factors impacting this area. So yes.
Thank you, Petros. And the next question really feeds into what you mentioned about when there are costs that go beyond what the tariffs can cover. Do you address the need for increased public sector financing or other to support the forward costs of maintaining the asset management system and better support for CBM?
So if I understand the question correctly, is like, what is the project doing to fully address the life cycle cost of the wash cost? We at local level, as I indicated, we have been paving the ground with the WASHCO, and also with setting a good quality service on the ground, and also with the capacity building efforts we have at both the local government level and also the private sector. And also we have an initiative which address the life cycle cost of like rural water supply service, and that assessment, that we did an assessment actually, and that assessment and study is used to like as an advocacy tool at a different level, at the government level, at private sector level, and community-based management arrangements we are having. And here in Ethiopia, the public-private sector is usually handled and addressed through the government structure we are having so far.
Thank you. We have a few more questions around the water committees and the tariffs. One that came in is around, can you speak more to the difference between 95% of water committees having tariffs and 60% having positive balance in bank accounts? Is this that they are not able to collect sufficient tariffs despite policy, or that the cost of repairs exceeded the amount of tariffs collected?
That's a very good point. So most of the, not most, some of the areas we are working are really very remote. We established, we support the establishment of tariff in almost all of the water supply systems, but due to the local context and the location, the distance from the nearest bank office, some didn't manage to do a bank opening and save their savings at the bank. That's why you see like the 95% and the 60 plus % difference there. Hope that clarifies. But happy to.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Petros. And as we're answering these questions, as Petros answers your question, if you have a follow-up one or you need more information, please just drop the follow-up questions in the Q&A as well. The next one is, Petros has talked about WASHCOs being professionalized. Could he explain a bit more what this professionalization looks like? For example, are the members paid or are there volunteers? And I know, Petro, you've expanded on talking about the different training you've provided, but if there's any more details around, are they paid, are they volunteers, or different aspects around the professionalization, that would be helpful.
Thank you. So the professionalization piece we supported is like, we went beyond the traditional WASHCO arrangement and capacity building arrangements we have. So we created the linkage with the Warada Water Office, and we supported and facilitated those WASHCOs to safely keep their savings, including in a bank. And whenever there are maintenance request needs comes in, we supported them whom to reach out to and how to handle those types of services. Even though due to the current private sector arrangement we are having in the areas where we are working, the service that's coming through the Warada, like paying a per diem or a transport allowance to the Warada Water Office technician, by itself is one of the step forward towards the privatization steps we progressing. So that part is what we call it, like we actually saying we pave the ground for the private sector. The communities, the West Coast now have the experience. They know why they save money. They know first why they pay for water, why they save money, and how to get the service they need, and from where to get it. So that's how the professionalization aspect comes in.
Thank you. There are several questions that came in around water quality. So what is the role of the community in monitoring and maintaining water quality? How did you approach water quality testing both initially and moving forward? And is this water quality monitoring part of the operations and maintenance?
So water quality is as most of you know, or like everyone knows, it's actually a requirement. It's a USAID's requirement, and initially before intervention, we do a full water quality test for all the three basic components: the chemical, the physical, and the bacteriological. And once the water service completed, either it's new construction or rehabilitation, we also do another round of we do a disinfection first, and also we do a test for bacteriological contaminations using on-site water quality testing, and then we also do a regular monitoring together with the local government partners. And also at a community level, as part of the roles and responsibilities under the WASH / the community, we support and we established the sanitary inspection arrangements. This is one step towards the water safety plan, which at a national level is going to. So that's how we handle the water quality monitoring part, and we provide capacity building to the local government partners, to the Warada Water Office / Health Office when it comes to how to do disinfection, how to do water quality monitoring. We actually conducted a national level water quality testing capacity assessment, which really came up with, showed us a significant gap we are having towards ensuring water quality, either it's an initial stage or for the regular monitoring. And that paper it has been used as an advocacy tool at the national and the local level. And at the national level, there is a huge shift needed around this sector to ensure we are in line with SDG, MDG rather.
Thank you, Petros. And are you seeing any challenges about around routine water quality monitoring?
Yes. Okay, the chemical physical is, once it's done, it takes, it's not expected for that to happen very soon. But the bacteriological water quality monitoring what types of equipments are available, what are the consumables we are having, what are like the each equipments do they need, including the incubation, including there is huge gap, and in Ethiopia there is really we have a huge issue. We have big gap when it comes to, like, especially in maintaining or in fulfilling the consumables need for all water quality aspects. But when it comes to the bacteriological one, again, it goes back to the capacity of the government partners who are working around this, and also the technology by itself. So far, we have the presence and absence, which looks, the on-site testing looks much simpler, much easier. They have their own limitations. And we are still waiting, like academicians, to come up with a simple rapid test similar to other tests we are hoping. I know there are many different initiatives happening, going on around this, but I haven't seen any results like beyond the compartment test or the presence and absence test, especially when it comes to the bacteriological water quality monitoring. And the other equipments which are requiring incubation and others are really, it's very difficult to adapt those to the areas where we are working, to the lowland areas. Very remote, there is no electricity, there is no power. So yeah.
Thank you for that, Petros. With the AMS system, if there is a gap in service reported, is there a trigger for maintenance action? Or who is responsible for follow-up if a gap in service is noted?
Very good question. So this system is institutionalized at the regional water bureau level, and that trigger has to be happening at the operation and maintenance team level. How response is happening, again, has to be monitored, regulated at the top management level. And one of the learnings we got from this process, like the response part, the system is there, maintenance requests can be triggered easily, but again, the response part has to do with the capacity of the government partners, and we have seen a significant challenge around that. And that requires, again, huge advocacy and huge shift by all levels. That requires huge attention.
Thank you. So we're getting close to the end of our Q&A session, and I saw a question that I think is very interesting and probably interesting to many on the lines who are calling in from outside of Ethiopia. Can the engineering design guidelines be applied outside of Ethiopia, elsewhere in the region?
So my straight answer is yes. And trust me, you have to try it. In a place where there is no standard design guideline, I can't imagine how designs are like happening. It is very easy. It requires like someone to get the information. What is the service level we are aiming? The rest are the hydraulics, which are existing across, like in many literatures, and is to bring what are the strategies or the service strategies or policy around the service level. What are the context we are working in when it comes to especially the technology for water abstraction. It is to bring these things together, and everyone has, like, most of the engineers, the hydrogeologists has, the geologists, they have the information on hand. It's just a matter of bringing those informations into one place and then making accessible those informations to everyone. It doesn't take long. It's a matter of, like, someone taking the initiative. For us, when it comes to the lowland wash, we took this initiative, we worked on it. It's like we haven't created anything new. We just compiled everything into one page, like one document, and it took us almost 3 to 4 months, not beyond that. And having, like, the drawing in one place, the BOQs in one place, the specifications in one place, and also, like, what are the available materials in the country, pipe, when it comes to pipe, where to use those types of pipes, what are the pumps we are having, the generators we are having, how can we size the reservoir, what types of taps do we need for a public, for institutions. It's just a matter of bringing this together. But whoever tries to do this elsewhere, trust me, you will benefit.
Great. Thank you so much, Petros, and thanks for all of the responses, as well as thanks to all the participants for posing such interesting and insightful questions. I'm going to hand it over to Jude now for the conclusion.
Thanks so much, Nicole, for facilitating that session. And thanks again to Petros for a really interesting presentation. Before we end today's webinar, we'd love to hear your feedback. And if you wouldn't mind taking a moment to complete our brief poll questions, which will appear on your screen. How likely are you to use the guidelines discussed during this webinar? And did you find the content of the webinar relevant to your work? Now, don't forget, we'll be sending out a recording of the webinar and the webinar PowerPoint slides to everyone who registered. And we're also going to try to send out a document with answers to all of your questions to all registrants later in this week. As a reminder, there are 3 other webinars in this series, the dates for which you can see on your screen. You can register for these dates by using the link in the chat box, and we'd love to see you in some of those webinars coming up. So please do register if you can. In the next 3 webinars in the series, just to give you a summary, we'll hear from the Groundwater Management Institute of the Southern African Development Community. We'll hear a case study of the Chris Hani District Municipality in the Eastern Cape in South Africa, and as well as from the USAID Nobo Jatra Resilience Food Security Activity in Bangladesh in South Asia. And for any questions on anything in this webinar series, please contact me, Jude Cobbing, at jcobbing@savechildren.org. And my email address is in the chat there. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you all very much for attending. Thank you for your time. And we'll see the poll results in a second. Thank you so much. And the poll results are coming up right now for those of you who are interested to see them. And once again, thank you. We really hope to see you again in future webinars. Poll results are there on your screen. And thank you. And this concludes today's webinar.